Hi, I'm Andy BROOME, Vice President of CSG, and today I want to share with you a very exciting and special card that we just recently graded. The card is none other than the iconic 1952 Topps number 311 Mickey Mantle, and it is valued at more than $2 million. Now, while not a rookie, this is his first Topps card, and Topps made a huge splash with the 52 design. This particular example graded a near mint to mint 8. Now, it's on a scale of 1 to 10, but when we're talking 52 Topps Mantles, 8's a very high grade. What impressed me the most was the surface of this card. Seeing the card out of the holder, the surface was near flawless. The color is exceptional. It's a piece of art. It's a beautiful card to look at. Now, you probably know the mystery and the legend behind the 52 Topps set and how they were designed, and then after the season when the high series didn't sell, they were loaded onto a garbage barge and dumped into the East River. Now, we don't know 100% if that's true, but it just adds to the mystique of the set. One thing you might not have known, though, is that the Mickey Mantle card is actually double printed. You'll see that sometimes when the card's listed, there'll be a DP after the description of the card. Now, what double print means is when the 1952 Topps high numbers were printed, they were printed on 100 card sheets. There weren't 100 different designs to fill out the sheet, so some of the cards, including the Mickey Mantle, were double printed, meaning there were 2 cards on the same sheet. Now, 1952 was long before we had Photoshop or any other type of graphic design software, so the designs were actually hand-cut and hand-built. We graded 2 of the 1952 Topps Mantle cards, the 8 that you see here, and also a 4-5. Here at CSG, we have decided to list the type on the label, the Type 1 and the Type 2. Now, the differences between the Type 1 and the Type 2 are as follows. When we look at the front of the card, we look at the Mickey Mantle, and we look at his printed signature. The Type 1 card, on the E of Mantle, we see that it curves upwards. And when we look at the Type 2, the E does not curve upwards. It's actually cut off at the end. The second area to look at is the Yankees logo. Now, the Type 1 has a solid black border around the logo, while the Type 2 is missing the bottom border. And we look at the marquee of Mickey Mantle's name, the border of stars around his name. We can see that there's the big difference between the Type 1 and Type 2. Now, we'll call it the star box. We'll see that there's a solid border around the top of the star box. And if we look at the Type 2, we can see it appears jagged. Now, if we look at the back of the card, let's look at the card number, which is 311. The card number design is inside of a baseball. On the Type 1, the stitches point to the left. On the Type 2, the stitches point to the right. And we'll also notice on the Type 2 that the stitches they are bolder than the Type 1. And finally, while we're on the back of the card, and we look at the top line here where it says Joe DiMaggio's, if we'll notice on the S of DiMaggio's, and we look just above it to right, the word right, we see that the S lines up under the H of right. This is on a Type 1 card. Now, the text on the Type 2 card is slightly shifted, and so we see that same S of DiMaggio now line up under the T of right. You know, my 24 years of professional grading, this 52 Topps Mantle is the nicest I've ever had the honor of grading. The surface is just flawless and all original. I can't state enough how beautiful this card is. And for CSG to have the opportunity to grade such a beautiful card, it's an honor and a privilege.